Now on Coast TV News.
Delaware Election Commissioner responds to questions over absentee ballots in the District 20 special election. 3 candidates, 2 seats. The Rehoboth Beach Commissioner election is just hours away. Montana murderer captured.
I think we're all just taking kind of a collective sigh of relief.
What new details authorities are releasing tonight.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Brandon Ferguson. Welcome to Coast TV News at 11. We begin tonight with the state of Delaware following up on questions from the Delaware GOP about the District 20 special election. The Delaware Election Commissioner responded tonight to concerns from the Republican Party about absentee ballots in the District 20 special election. The commissioner explained that some absentee ballots in the recent special election were returned blank in a pattern, and that's seen in many elections. He noted that all absentee ballots were sent to voters with permanent absentee status, and that status remains active unless the voter opts out. The commissioner suggested some voters may return blank ballots simply to maintain a consistent voting record. He emphasized that all absentee ballot procedures, from opening to scanning, followed all Delaware law and procedures. And the result of that special election was Democrat Alana Berry winning by just 121 votes over Republican Nikki Miller. And on your screen now was posted to the Friends of Alana Berry Facebook page, and that's Representative Berry in Dover at her seat in Legislative Hall. And we have multiple articles on the District 20 special election and a full breakdown of the response from the Delaware Election Commissioner on our website. Another election is just around the corner in Rehoboth Beach, just hours away. 3 candidates are running for 2 open commissioner seats in the city, and they all have a unique story of how they got here. Jeffrey Good is a retired federal employee and the husband of current city commissioner Suzanne Good. Susan Stewart is a lawyer and is already on the Rehoboth Beach Planning Commission and the Mixed Use and Stormwater Utility Task Forces, and a financial advisor with major wealth management firm. Chris Galanti has no relation to the city and is a senior program and account manager overseeing complex government contracts. Each candidate laid out what they want voters to know ahead of Election Day.
My commitment to voters is I will be respectful, I will do my homework, so I'll make informed votes, and I'll work hard to understand what people want and have it reflected in our agenda.
I'm the only one running who will focus on fiscal sanity of the city. I believe we're really headed into the wrong direction.
I bring a data-based approach to decision making. I like to find commonality with my colleagues and work collaboratively on solution and problem solving, and that's the type of perspective that I'll bring.
Tomorrow is Election Day, and voting begins from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Rehoboth Beach Convention Center. And tune in tomorrow evening to Coast TV News at 11 to learn more about the results. And we're now going to take a live look into Ocean City and bring in First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams for a look at the weather. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening to you, Brandon. Mainly our concern is going to be how you're going to deal with the waves, because we still have concerns with dangerous rip currents and really crashing waves that we actually continue to monitor. For right now, you're not seeing the crashing waves. Everything's calmed down for right now, but we're at 72 degrees in Rehoboth, Indian River Inlet, as well as Bethany Beach, but we're much cooler as you go farther inland. We're at 64 degrees in Georgetown, 62 in Delmar, Laurel, as well as Gumboro right now. The winds coming out of the northeast, relatively light, except for Indian River Inlet, where we have a 18-mile-per-hour gust. Rip current statement is active for Lewis, Rehoboth, Dewey Beach, Bottom Hills, Ocean View, down to Fenwick Island. This also carries from Ocean City all the way down with the beach hazard statement, basically saying the same thing. We're looking out for dangerous rip currents, and we also have a small craft advisory. So it's very breezy and the waves are crashing. We have concern for rip currents on a high level. More on all this in a moment. Till then, back to you.
Thank you, Paul. The Bethany Beach Police Department is asking for your help in locating 49-year-old William Angle. On your screen now is Angle, and he is wanted on a felony theft charges after stealing more than $2,000 from an arcade machines at Shore Fun Arcade on Garfield Parkway in Bethany Beach. Police say these thefts happened over several days this week. And it's been 1 week since Delaware adult use cannabis market opened, but not all dispensaries have been able to participate. Fresh Delaware, with 3 locations statewide, says its Seaford and Milford stores can't start recreational sales due to city bans. Fresh says they received a state of recreational license for its Milford location back in last October, but months before the city passed its ban in January. But that remains blocked from selling. Because of this, Fresh is taking legal action against the city of Milford.
If we knew the city felt this way from day one, we would have been able to find a site somewhere else that would have welcomed us. And we've kind of missed the window to do that at this point.
As for Seaford, the mayor says they're currently working on changing language in their current ordinance to align with state guidelines. At this time, Milford says they have no plans to change their ordinance. And we turn now to developing news out of Montana. Authorities have captured the gunman accused of fatally shooting 4 people, ending a week-long manhunt. Morgan Chesky has more.
Tonight, after a frightening week-long manhunt, authorities confirming 45-year-old Michael Paul Brown is in police custody. The town's mayor telling NBC News authorities found Brown alive and hiding barely 5 miles from the Owl Bar in Anaconda, where authorities say Brown fatally shot 4 people last Friday.
I think we're all just taking kind of a collective sigh of relief.
Lacey Grosvold, who lives with her daughter near the very woods authorities were searching, is now finally feeling safe.
I was also glad to hear that he was taken alive, just because that means that some of the families of the victims might get some answers or some understanding.
Officials releasing this photo over the weekend, showing Brown without a shirt or pants. They believe after the shooting, he stole a pickup truck and found new clothing. So far, authorities have yet to share what may have led the Army veteran to allegedly open fire and then flee, launching a massive manhunt in a heavily forested mountain area.
This is an unstable individual who walked in and murdered 4 people in cold blood for no reason whatsoever.
Authorities say the 4 victims, all local, were not strangers to Brown, who friends say struggled with mental health over the past year. Tonight, as families mourn those lost, others thankful a terrifying chapter is over.
More back to Delmarva. Here's more on the uncertain future of the NASA Wallops Visitor Center in Accomack County. NASA Goddard told us yesterday no decision about the facility closures have been made, but union leadership says that the initial communication to employees via email on Monday signifies a clear intent to close the visitor center on October 1st. Jeff Parks is chair of Wallops Research Park Leadership Council. He says it's too early to panic about the center's future.
My experience being a federal contractor as well as a federal employee, that notices have to be sent out if there's a potential for funding to be cut off. That's not new. It happens very often. It may be new to our area. So I'm hopeful, and from what I've heard, that's where we are in the process here.
The union is calling for an increased transparency from agency leadership as why these sites are being considered to close. In addition to an impact study, a public hearing and congressional oversight happened as well. Captain Jim Lovell, the NASA astronaut best known as commander of the ill-fated Apollo 13, died Thursday in Illinois. He was just 97 years old. NBC's Jay Gray takes a look back at his life and career.
Accepted into the NASA space program in 1962, Jim Lovell made his first of 4 space flights in 1965 on Gemini 7. In December of '68, Lovell commanded the historic Apollo 8 mission, the first manned spacecraft to orbit the moon. The crew famously reading from the book of Genesis.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
To me, Apollo 8 was a bigger deal. Apollo 8 was the epitome, the high point of my space ventures.
But perhaps it was as commander of the ill-fated Apollo 13 that Lovell will be most remembered.
Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here.
Houston, we have a problem.
That famous phrase depicted in the 1995 film version Apollo 13, starring Tom Hanks as Jim Lovell. In April of 1970, an explosion in the spacecraft caused a loss of oxygen. Astronauts Lovell, Jack Swigert, and Fred Hasse moved into the lunar module as it traveled around the moon. The nation and the world collectively held its breath. The crew successfully returned to Earth on April 17th. Touring an exhibit in Chicago, Lovell recently reflected on his experience with the Gemini and Apollo missions.
Well, I spent 2 weeks and another 4 days of this type of a spacecraft, and then, of course, the Apollo spacecraft. This is a very important part of my life.
Lovell retired from NASA in 1973 and went to work in the private sector. Jim Lovell, one of the early pioneers of space flight, will help lead NASA and the world into the frontier of space travel. Jay Gray, NBC News.
Coming up, tournament tradition. One couple has been to 46 White Marlin Opens. We have that story and an updated look at the leaderboards.
Here's a look at your Bay forecast. We're starting to climb into the 80s, and we're going to stay there. Enjoy the weekend because next week's going to be another hot one. I guess the main concern that I would have for you for this weekend is really watch yourself in the water. And I want to say it again, and I'm not being melodramatic. We have rip current warnings and we have small craft advisories. And I've personally been looking at the beach, particularly at Rehoboth Beach, looking at the way the waves are coming in, and it's not letting up. Even though it's a little bit of a lull now, during the daylight hours when we have a lot of thermodynamic heating, those waves are crashing really hard. Just enjoy and admire the waves. Don't try to go deep into them, especially below your kneecaps there. All right, so in Lewis, that's what the lifeguards told me to tell you. All right, so we have temperatures in the 60s inland, 66 in Seaford, 64 in Georgetown. Dew point temperature of 60, so we have an ample amount of moisture to do some things, but we just don't have the trigger mechanism to make it go into action. Winds are coming out of the east-northeast, gusting up to 19 miles per hour at the Indian River Inlet. So here's what I was referring to at the top of the newscast, well, at the top of the weathercast, pardon me. Rip current statements in effect for Lewis, Rehoboth, Dewey, Bottom Hills, Ocean View, Fenwick Island. This is talking about the possibility of these waves bringing you out a lot deeper in the sea than you expect, and of the ocean than you anticipate, along with a small craft advisory, which means you have crashing waves out there. So even if you do float to try to get back in because of the rip current, these waves could do you in as well. Same holds true for from Ocean City all the way down to Chincoteague, okay? And the small craft advisory is in effect there. So here's the deal with the rip currents. Just to kind of summarize what we're talking about here, we are looking at how things pull out very quickly, and so you're going to need to be mindful of swimming with the current, try to tread water, and keep your eyes close and peeled towards where help can come from. We are quiet for right now at the northeast. A low pressure system is off the water trying to develop into something tropical. We'll see if that actually comes into fruition. We're going to have some sunshine for tomorrow, near 80 degrees for Saturday. Now, we have high UV index for tomorrow as well, so not much in the way of cloud cover is going to be in the way. Along the coast, we'll have temperatures in the upper 70s to low 80s. This weekend's going to be our last weekend of very tolerable sunshine because the heat and humidity is coming back in style. Now, for Saturday, we'll go up to 79 and 80 degrees. Sunday, we start off at 62 to 57 in Georgetown, but we go back to the low 80s for most inland areas. Now, our muggy meter is going to stay low for now, but we're going to start spiking higher, particularly as we get past Tuesday, going into Wednesday and Thursday. Light pressure system is going to park itself right along the Virginia and North Carolina line and drag in that deep south, or that deep south heat humidity right on top of us into the 90s, and then we're going to start to simmer from there. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We're going to seeing the stair steps going up, up, and away. That's your super forecast.
Thank you, Paul. And with that good weather, there's some cool things to do this weekend. The Rehoboth Art League's Outdoor Fine Art and Fine Craft Show is set to return for its 52nd year. According to organizers, visitors can expect live artist demonstrations, gallery exhibits, and performances throughout the Cape Penelope Acres campus. Along with the fine arts and crafts, people can enjoy local restaurants and live music. The event takes place tomorrow and Sunday, August 9th and 10th. And some of the world's best skimboarders are hitting the waves here on the coast. The 2025 ZAP Pro-Am World Championship of Skimboarding is heading to Dewey Beach this weekend. According to organizers, the competition brings amateur and pro riders from around the world to compete for medals, prize, bags, and cash awards. The competition runs from today through Sunday, and weekend festivities include a fundraiser and a contest after party. And coming up here after the break, a Delmarva community reacts to a pastor being detained by ICE. We have that full story next.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
A longtime pastor from Easton was arrested by ICE on July 21st after being accused of overstaying his visa for 24 years. One of Daniel Fuentes Espinal's friends tell Coast TV his detention occurred moments after he visited a Lowe's store on his way home from work. Fuentes Espinal, a husband and father of 3, is now in a detention facility in Louisiana. Telemundo Delmarva and Coast TV News reporter Ana Sofia Roman shows us how the community is reacting.
Damaris Aguirre, who preferred not to show her face, has been friends with Pastor Daniel Fuentes Espinal for over a decade. She described Pastor Fuentes Espinal as a noble and respectful man.
I
think everyone here in Easton who knows him is saddened. The sadness of the fact that he is a good person who doesn't go around hurting anyone, but rather helps others find the right path. It's sad that they focus on people like that.
The afternoon of
Len Foxwell is a former neighbor of Pastor Fuentes Espinal. Foxwell's son, Darren, who recently passed away after a car accident, was a best friend of Pastor Fuentes Espinal's son, Daniel.
His relationship with Daniel, the pastor's son, was such that Daniel was at my son's bedside at Maryland Shock Trauma on the day he was pronounced dead. And Pastor Fuentes Espinal spoke at my son's funeral services on July 2nd. So I mention that only to say that the relationship between our families and my personal commitment to the pastor and to his family runs very, very deep.
Cristal Herrera works at La Selecta, a Hispanic store in the downtown area of Easton. Herrera says Pastor Fuentes Espinal's wife is a frequent client there.
It is something unfortunate that they took him away, especially since he has been good. He is a support for the Easton community.
Coast TV was told Pastor Fuentes Espinal is part of Iglesia del Nazareno Jesús Te Ama in Easton.
The church is very sad about what is happening to them, because it is not easy that overnight the pastor, who is the one in charge of everything there in the church, is not there.
A beloved man in the Easton community, now behind bars. Foxwell told Coast TV News Fuentes Espinal has a bond review hearing scheduled for early next week. They're hoping he can post bond and ultimately be reunited with his family. In Easton, Ana Sofia Roman, Coast TV News.
This brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know what should guide deportation decisions. Let's take a look at the updated results from our 6 p.m. newscast. So far, 45% saying criminal record, with 28% saying visa terms. And we have a comment tonight on this poll. Trudy from Milton says a criminal should be deported, no one else. If a law-abiding citizen is arrested by ICE, senators need to intercede. If you haven't voted yet or you want to leave a comment, you can do that on our website right now or on our mobile app. And coming up next, we check in on the White Marlin Open leaderboards and see if there are any big changes after day 5. But first, how students can help a neurodivergent with the school year right around the corner.
Here's a look at your golf forecast as you're lining your tee up for tomorrow. Well, you know, it's going to be excellent weather, to be quite honest. Sunny and pleasant, mostly sunny, and 80 degrees.
This time of the year can be stressful for any student, but for the millions of children who have learning and thinking differences like ADHD or dyslexia, back to school can add another layer of pressure. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither talks to a psychologist who specializes in this field about how to help neurodivergent students succeed.
It's time to learn again, but for some, processing new information can be a challenge.
For kids with learning and thinking differences, engaging in academics, engaging in just being in new places can be so stressful.
Psychologist Andrew Kahn with the nonprofit Understood.org says these differences are often misunderstood because they're not obvious to the observer. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, dyslexia, which affects a person's ability to read and write, and dyscalculia, which impairs math comprehension, all affect the brain's ability to process information.
For a lot of teachers and parents, when you're in situations with multiple kids, it's often hard to look below the surface and figure out what's happening with these kids.
Kahn says parents play a pivotal role in helping their student with learning and thinking differences to succeed in school. First, empower yourself with reliable information. Understand your child's neurological differences and how they impact the student during school. Then, advocate for your child. Talk to their teacher and school administrators.
At the start of the school year, formulating a little get-to-know-you letter. Here are some strengths of my child. Here are things that they struggle with. And very importantly, some strategies that tend to work for them.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The nonprofit organization Understood has free resources online to help both parents and teachers, including simulations and videos that can allow everyone to better understand what a child with thinking and learning differences may experience during a regular day. You can find that information at understood.org. The White Marlin Open has grown significantly over the past 5 decades, and one couple has been there nearly every step of the way. Sylvia and Jay Mueller are currently attending their 46th tournament. Each year, the couple makes the trip down from Mount Joy, Pennsylvania. Since 1974, they've only missed the tournament 6 times, and their experience has allowed them to develop a perfect system to ensure they get the best seat in the house.
Get up in the morning, we eat breakfast, we fool around the house a little bit, maybe go over to the swimming pool. She has to leave by 1:30 to get here by 2
get this
so that
front
we can
line.
get a good spot.
See, this is a whole
And
bunch.
here we are until we can't stand anymore, and then we go home.
The Muellers have attended 19 straight tournaments in Ocean City, and they say they don't plan on breaking that streak anytime soon. And for an update on the Day 5 leaderboards, DSN's Kayla Santiago has the latest.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studio.
What's going on, sports fans? It is Day 5 of the White Marlin Open. Now remember, this tournament got extended to Saturday and Sunday due to the weather, and only 6 boats went out today, and everything pretty much stayed the same. Here are the leaderboards sponsored by Rudy Marine. Starting in the White Marlin category so far, still the only White Marlin of the tournament, and it's the local angler, and the boat is Bill Fisher out of Ocean City with a 72-pounder with a current award of a whopping $4.27 million. But we still have 2 more days to see if anyone else can reel in a White Marlin before they get the grand prize. For the Blue Marlin, it is still Barbara B on top of the 929.5-pound monster. That is going to be tough to beat as it was reeled in early in the competition, but hey, we do still have all weekend. Moving on to the Dolphin category, Barbara B with a 32.5-pounder is still in the lead after Day 5, and we got a few tuna reeled in that still hold the top spot. Mama C out of New Smyrna Beach, Florida with a 95-pounder with a current award of nearly $787,000. And now a quick word from one of our great sponsors on behalf of the White Marlin Open.
White Marlin Open leaderboard coverage is sponsored by RudyMarine.com, where family boating begins.
Now to some movie news. From superheroes to senior citizens, David Daniels has today's Hollywood Minute.
I'm vengeance.
The Batman is coming back. Warner Brothers Discovery says The Batman Part 2 is due to begin filming next spring, with a planned release date of October 1st, 2027. The company also told shareholders DC Studios co-head James Gunn is working on 2 2026 releases, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and Clayface, and the next Wonder Woman movie.
Joyce, are you a nurse? Bang on target. I'm Elizabeth. Would you take a look at that for me, please?
Dear God.
'Tis a lot of blood. Would you care to join us to discuss things further? Who is us? I'm sorry, how rude of me. We're the Thursday Murder Club.
The official trailer is out for the Thursday Murder Club. Helen Mirren, Pierce Brosnan, Ben Kingsley, and Celia Imrie are retirees who work on cold cases until a new murder kicks things up a notch. The Thursday Murder Club, based on the best-selling novel, debuts August 28th on Netflix. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Each Friday, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news. The newsletter came out today. It's full of features, cool things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up now for a Feel Good Friday newsletter at coasttv.com/signup.
Our skeeter meter, courtesy of Active Pest Solutions. Actually, we're going to stay at a moderate level. Actually, for the next 3 days, we're starting to get heavier mosquito action probably next week because it's going to be hotter and humid. We're at 61 degrees in Laurel. We'll stay in the lower 60s with mostly clear skies. By the way, the sturgeon moon for tonight. We're looking for that to be the case for us. The name comes from a large number of sturgeon fish that were found in the Great Lakes this time of the year. This name, sturgeon moon, that peaks actually about 3'4". By the way, our umbrella winner, Monica Keto of Dagsboro. You can keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line, sponsored by the law offices of Brugstedt, Mandalis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. We'll go from 80 to 83 to 84 for the next 3 days in a row, and we'll continue to climb and go upwards from there till we crack the 90-degree mark on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and that's when we'll start talking about the heat index in the triple digits once again.
Back into the 90s, Paul. Thank you, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News at 11. For more news and local weather, you can download our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show, starring Jimmy Fallon, is up next. We'll see you tomorrow night for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great night.